everyone, welcome back to our YouTube channel. Today we're going to be talking about some of our favorite books to reread.
Yeah, so these books most of them we have reread, but a couple of them we have not, but we know that we will.
Yeah, they're definitely on our list.
Yes. My favorite series is The Lord of the Rings by J.R.R. Tolkien, and I have actually reread this series once or twice, and I need to reread it again, but I haven't gotten a chance to yet. This fall or winter or something, I will definitely be getting back to rereading these. And it's not just The Lord of the Rings, it's also The Hobbit and The Silmarillion and all the other works in his legendarium. And this world is just so immersive, so beautiful. He knew every single thing that he was planning to do and trying to do long before he even started writing the first book, which was The Hobbit. And I will never not like these books. They're so full of lore and story and character and love and friendship, and it's just anything that you could want in these books, and any story is in these books. And I don't know how to not love them now that I've read them.
Yeah, so one of my favorites is Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. Yeah, I read this first when I was between the ages of 8, 7, and 12, I think. I don't know. I watched a movie and I wanted to read the book. My mom told me it might be a little difficult, and of course that made me want to read it all the more. So I read it, and I read it, yeah, for real. I read it all the way through and I loved it. And so I reread it again when I was about 13. And I realized when I reread it that each portion of the story is like a little lesson that the girls in the book are learning. And that was just so cool to see that I could go back and reread that and pull those stories out. And also the girls, the main characters, Jo, Meg, Amy, and Beth are like my childhood friends because I did read them so young. I feel like I know them, so that's part of why I love Little Women and why I plan on rereading it again soon.
So this is interesting. All my stories are fantasy, that's all right. So another one is the Redwall series by Brian Jakes. As you can see, we're currently reading one of those for a review, which will be coming down the line a little bit later. But this series has always been one of my favorites since I started reading them, however many years ago now. I don't remember. But it's a fun, lighthearted series, but there's still depth and heart and messages and things that you can learn from each of these stories, and it's just a powerful series. I know Kate doesn't like it or it's not her favorite because of you following animals, but that doesn't really bother me, and I don't even notice that when it comes down to it. They're characters to me. They're as real as anybody else from Lord of the Rings or from real life, and it's amazing the world that Brian Jakes created. Redwall itself is actually my least favorite in the series, but it's just because I love all of them so much, and it's just one of them has to be your least favorite.
Yeah, so the second book that I love to reread is The Giver. I actually have the whole quartet in a single volume here, but just The Giver, the first book, is my favorite. I reread it 2 or 3 times, and I feel like you couldn't get enough of it. Like, the more you read it, you still enjoy it as like a whole new story every single time. The characters and the world and the dystopian aspect of it is just really intriguing, and I love The Giver, and I really like Lois Lowry's writing too. So
yeah, so I've reread The Giver now, and it's amazing too. It's an amazing reread, but I just didn't have it on my list because she put it on hers, and so I don't need to talk about it. Getting into another series, once again, fantasy. This one is, I actually have not reread this. I've read this for the first time, this is The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. This is book 1 of the Stormlight Archives. but it's in a greater series of all by Brandon Sanderson that are combined into what's known as the Cosmere. And all of these books, I have read all of the books in the Mistborn series so far, and I have reread them, or I've reread the Era one, the original trilogy of them, at least, or I've reread them once, and that series is amazing, and that's what was on here. I don't own them, so I don't have a copy, but Stormlight Archives will absolutely be on that list once I get through them too, because they're just so full of lore and personality, and it's just, Brandon Sanderson is amazing.
The third series that I love to reread is The Hunger Games. Have I actually reread this one?
I think you've reread Hunger Games. I don't think you've reread it.
Yeah, maybe the first book, but not the second two. I really love the first book. It's probably my favorite of the series, and I like the movies a lot too, so I watch the movies, and sometimes I get like my memories of the movies and my memories of the books kind of combined. So, but I know that this is a book that I love to reread, and I will probably be rereading it before the year's out, I suspect.
Well, yeah, because the prequel, A Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, is coming out pretty soon.
Yeah,
and so we'll have to reread them for that once that comes out.
No, but I really enjoy The Hunger Games, so that's one that I'll probably be looking at again.
Yeah.
And the last book series is Percy Jackson and the Olympians. Percy Jackson, we started reading these when we were I was probably 13. You were probably.
I think I read
15.
the first one when I was 15 or 16. So yeah.
Yeah. So we were just slightly older than the intended audience, but we really sped through them, and I loved them. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's kind of another book that has a little bit of nostalgia for me because I did read them when I was younger.
Yeah. And
I don't know. I love the stories. I'm actually rereading this again right now, along with I'm just reading 2 books at once because I wanted to. So, yeah. This series is one of my favorites.
They're just a lot of fun.
They are. And then, although I haven't done it yet, I'm kind of thinking more and more about Rick Riordan's Kane Chronicles, and I'm thinking I might want to reread those because I really enjoyed those as well.
Think part of the allure for me is the mythology, because they're based off of Greek or Roman or Egyptian or Norse mythology, and that's just super cool to me. I've always had a love for that. I mean, I understand that it's not real, but I love how he can build a world that takes place nowadays, but incorporates all that lore and mythology from
definitely an incredible
days.
Work of art.
Yeah, it's really cool. The last series that we love and are going to be rereading is Harry Potter. We read this for the first time
we started in August
last winter, and blew through it, all 7 books, and absolutely loved it.
Yep.
We haven't gotten to reread this yet, simply due to the fact that it's been 2 months since we finished the last
it for the first time. Yeah.
But it definitely will be reread.
Yeah.
Maybe not this year, but probably next year, if not. But this one was so much fun to read. It was just amazing. The lightheartedness, but yet the depth of the world. Not so much the world, although that there is quite a bit there, but the depth of the story and the messages that were being taught through these books in a subtle yet way that people could understand if you thought about it. And it's really cool to see J.K. Rowling absolutely come up and make a series that has become so well loved in the relatively short time that it's been out.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to rereading it once we get there.
Once we get to that point, yeah.
So if you're interested in hearing hearing us review any of these series that we've talked about or books that we've talked about, let us know, and we will see what we can do. Depending on how far out our next reread will be, we may do it before then, or we may not. But this week's video was supposed to be a book review for either Martin the Warrior or The Story Peddler, but I'm not a fast enough reader to get through either of those by this week. So, especially since I had to finish the last Stormlight arc Archives book, or the first Stormlight Archives book that I was reading.
What he's
So-
trying to say.
What I'm trying to say is I'm a slow reader and I couldn't get to the books in time. But
Sorry.
we will have more book reviews coming down the road and more fun videos like this that are just
Yeah.
our thoughts on
Some of our favorite
things.
books.
Yeah.
If you have any specific reviews that you want us, any books that you want us to review, let us know down in the comments below.
Yeah. Give us a thumbs up and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Stay warm.